Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Twana James, and joining me tonight is a beautiful young lady. Her name is Christina Hampton, and she's going to tell you all about something that she has special coming up. But this woman is just a powerhouse. She serves as the resident in counseling, vice president, and director of mental health and planning at Yet Stand Incorporated, and co-leads a marriage and addiction ministry alongside her husband. Christina is also the visionary behind the Unshakable Saturday Brunch, which is coming up very soon. Christina, yes. Welcome to Community Conversations. How are you?
Thank you. I am well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, well, thank you for being here today. And thank you for just being a beautiful person that's here in the community in Fredericksburg. But I know that your story did not start here in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
No. I'm originally from Jackson, Mississippi. I grew up most of my life in Burke, Virginia, in Northern Virginia. My husband and I decided to move to Fredericksburg back in 2017. And we have fallen in love with the community. We love the people. We've made so many wonderful connections here that we have decided, we're kind of planted.
It's home now. That's right. Now, Christina, your story is deeply rooted in faith and purpose. Can you share how your spiritual journey led you into counseling and ministry work? You generally don't see people in both of these areas.
Well, so I've been a Christian all my life. My family are Christians and Jehovah's Witness as well. But my faith, for me personally, because we know that we can grow up in one religion, but unless you have experienced God for yourself, it's a whole different type of experience, I should say. So for me, I started out going to school to be a nurse, believe it or not.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, my mom is a nurse. She's been a nurse for over 40 years. And I said, maybe I'll do nursing. Then I got into I got into my head and I started thinking about blood and drawing blood and all the things that you would have to do as a nurse. And I said, oh, no, that's not for me. So then I decided to do, I did biblical and theological studies at Regent University. So I have a bachelor's in that. And then I got in my head again and I said, Lord, I don't think you really want me to be a pastor.
Is that the lane you were trying to?
I thought about going in that direction of being a pastor. And then I said, I don't think that's where the Lord is calling me. So then for so many years of my life, I've had so many people tell me, oh, you're very wise. And they always come to me for advice on things. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I may as well get paid for this. So,
that's right.
So I decided to go into counseling because I do have a passion for helping people. And when I say that, I know we hear a lot of people say, I just love to help people. I really like the whole process of helping someone process what they need in their life. Also processing what they've gone through and helping them work through it and getting to the other side of healing. So that, for me, feels natural. Yes, I work as a counselor, but it doesn't feel like a job every day.
Yeah, because you love doing it. You have such a warm spirit. And I can see when people naturally just start telling you their issues standing in the grocery store line.
Oh, yeah. I get random people talk to me about so many different things, and I welcome it. I try to, not be one of those people who never has the time to listen to other people, even if I'm not getting paid for it. It's, that's why I volunteer for a nonprofit. I love what I do, and I give it from my heart.
Growing up as an African-American woman, same here with me, growing up in the church, you find that a lot of church folk, Christian folk, don't believe so much in therapy and counseling and mental health. They think everything is more spiritual. Are there variations here? How do you know when it's a spiritual issue or a mental issue?
So I believe in both. I believe that it can be spiritual, and I believe it can be mental as well. I believe anything that we do is a reflection of where we are spiritually. And I get what you're saying, because I've heard so many people say, well, just pray and ask God to deliver you. But God also blessed us with therapists for a reason. He blessed us with doctors for a reason.
Exactly.
He blessed us with I mean, radio folks for a reason, right?
Yeah. You can be inspired in different areas.
In different areas, and because you're going to a therapist, and there is a stigma on therapy, because you're going to a therapist, it does not mean that you are this, crazy person per se.
Or a non-believer. Sometimes
or
people
a
think you don't
non-believer.
believe if you're going to therapy.
And I honestly, and the interesting part is we have Christian therapists. We have Christian counseling, right? So I strongly believe now, one side also to this is that I have clients who are Christians who, from a biblical standpoint, want advice, right? I have other clients who are not Christians. So I have to be able to operate in both spaces. And I'm still able to stand in my faith and my belief and still provide what they need. I don't have to, per se, push my religion on anyone, but I can still be a kind, loving person that provides wisdom and hope, right? Regardless of what the person believes.
And right now, a lot of people in our area are facing some hard times financially with what's going on with the government and jobs and things of that nature. Yeah. Do you find that more people are coming now with these type of issues? They just feel hopeless?
Well, most of the people that I work with are dealing with substance use concerns. And it could be from, I do have a lot of clients that have lost their job, not directly from, the federal government maybe, but just in other areas that they work.
They have struggles.
They have struggles. And I can definitely foresee a lot of clients coming in with that issue where they're concerned. I mean, and they have valid concerns. Like, where are you going? People, if you're not able to meet your necessities, that's definitely going to be a strain on your mental health.
And you might start depending on vices to get you through. Yeah,
and that's usually what happens. That's what usually happens, whether it's some form of a drug or alcohol. Some of us depend so much on other people and we drain those people, right? So I do see in the future, I do foresee a lot of people that are being laid off and dealing with, job challenges and being able to take care of their families. That's going to take a mental toll. And we have to be here as mental health providers, being empathetic and embracing these people and providing them as much hope as we can.
Yeah, a lot of times people just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Well, you and your husband co-lead a marriage and addiction ministry that has touched many lives. What inspired that particular mission, and what are some of the most meaningful transformations you've seen come out of it?
So honestly, one of the most meaningful transformations I've seen is out of us.
Oh, your marriage. That can be easy working with your spouse.
Well, both of us have a history of substance use. For 12 years of my life, I used cocaine. And a lot of people don't know that. I guess y'all know now.
You would never know that looking at you. No, ma'am. I would never think that.
By the grace of God.
Yeah.
But my husband also had a heroin addiction for so many years.
Amazing.
And I think for us, and this is something that we've kind of been dealing with over the years. We've been together for 11 years. We dealt with it in our relationship before we got married. So we understand that spouses, as a spouse, you deal with a lot, right? In my relationship, though, I wasn't using any substances, but he still was. So trying to balance everything, trying to be that supportive spouse to someone who is still using can be very challenging. And we know that
you had already stopped,
healed,
recovered, moved forward with your life.
Yeah.
And he was still in the life.
Yeah. He was still battling. Right?
Yeah.
He was battling his addiction, and he's doing wonderful now, praise God. But
praise God.
For a few years in our relationship, it was a struggle. It was a huge struggle. And he decided on his own, without me knowing, that he was going to get the help that he needed and started doing counseling and started doing treatment. I didn't even know.
Wow.
And then I found something one day, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" It was like like an appointment card or something. And I said, "What is this?" And he said, "Oh yeah, by the way."
And that's a praise God moment right there.
That was, and I couldn't be mad at him because, even though it was something I felt like I should have known, but maybe I didn't need to know. Maybe God told him, "You don't need to tell her right now. Go and do what you need to do for yourself." Yeah, and I understood that, respected that, and appreciated that he did the work himself, right? And he's still doing the work. He hasn't stopped.
I'm sure every day, whenever you're addicted to anything, even if it's just behavior, you have to fight that battle every day. And that's where your faith comes in.
Yeah, it's a struggle. So that was part of the reason why we started to tell our story, started to do a podcast and tell our story about, marriage and addiction. How, dealing with it, how to approach your spouse, how to talk to your spouse about it, how to recognize signs that a person is using a substance. So that was that's the main reason why we started that ministry.
What would a parent do if they thought that their 17 or 18-year-old, 16-year-old might be using? You're just suspecting it. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give? I
would not accuse them of it.
Don't start with the accusation.
Don't start with the accusations. Okay. That usually pushes anybody away, right?
Yeah. The first thing, about the question, are you on drugs?
Well, I'll say this. Usually when a person is using a substance, they will withdraw if you're coming at them and accusing and asking, are you doing this? Are you doing that? The first thing they're going to say is no. Right. Then they're going to make you think you're crazy for even coming to them and asking them these questions. Because they're offended. Yeah. And part of it is they don't want to be exposed. Right. So, and I think in our efforts of wanting to save this person, wanting to pull them out of whatever it is that they're going through with this substance, we become this we become this person who is hounding them, who is questioning them, who's being suspicious about everything. It doesn't make that person comfortable to come to you and talk to you about it, right? I think anytime we approach the topic of are you using something is one, we have to have compassion. We have to be able to understand that, because a lot of people think, and I was one of these people before I took these classes.
From the other side.
I was one of these people that thought, why can't you just quit? Because for me, any substance I've ever used in my life, whether it was cocaine or marijuana, I just quit. Cigarettes, I just quit. Cold turkey.
Wow.
Vaping, quit. Didn't do any classes, didn't, just quit. But I can't expect other people to do it the way I did it, right? So I think with a parent approaching a kid, pay attention to the signs. There are certain signs. They become more irritable. They may sleep all day. They may be up all night. Their grades may drop. They may stop doing the things that they love. And sometimes that could be a sign of depression as well. So it's paying attention to the signs and just, having conversations. You know how your child is when they were bubbly and sweet and innocent. Everybody thinks their kid is sweet and innocent, but when they were,
until they're not.
And you start to see a change in that behavior. Now it's, hey, how's everything going with you? How's school going? Or is there anything happening at school? I've noticed, some changes, and I'm just checking in to make sure you're okay, and see where that goes, right? Then if you think that it's a little bit more than you just asking questions, get someone else involved. Take them to therapy. Hey, I would like for us to go and talk to this therapist. I think we can work on our relationship.
And seek out resources outside of therapy. There are organizations and groups that can.
And parents doing their own, mental health first aid for teens. I just did that class. And I think parents doing that also helps them to be able to know how to approach a situation.
Is that something that Yet Stand does? Can you tell us about Yet Stand Inc.?
Yet Stand Inc., we actually just did the class all together. So there's a young lady, her name is Maya Lisa. I can't think of her last name as of yet. and I can't think of the organization she's with, but I will provide you the information. But she provided the class for us. Yes Stand Inc., what we do, we are a nonprofit, so we help families and we also help teens. Right now, we've been focusing on going in and educating teens on mental health, coping skills. We've talked about suicide. We've talked about self-harm. So just providing any type of mental health support we can to teens is what we've been doing lately.
That is awesome. And I know you have the Unshakable Brunch coming up. We got to talk about that. So tell us about the Unshakable Brunch and what led you to doing this.
So another phenomenal woman named Sylvia White, she and I met. We talked about something we wanted to do for our community, something that we weren't really seeing. A lot of things that I try to get involved in is what I'm not seeing, right? I try to create something that helps the community. So she and I were talking, and we said, we should do like a brunch or something, or we should do a dinner or something. So Unshakable, we started throwing out names, and I'm like, what about Unshakable Saturday Brunch? And we're like, yeah, let's do that. So we wanted to bring women together. It's all about celebration. It's about bringing all women from all walks of life. It is faith-based. I am a Christian, so everything I do is going to be, Christian related. Yeah. But it is not a space where all are not welcomed. And I strongly believe that if you want people to see Christ and know who Christ is, you got to invite them in the room, right? And they may not look like you. They may not believe the same thing as you, but you can still be kind and loving and all the good stuff, right?
As we are commanded to do.
Yeah. Word, yes. So Unshakable Saturday Brunch is a celebration for all women. It is definitely about empowerment, encouragement, love, support, uplifting, networking. This is our 4th year. I am so proud of that because when I first started this, y'all, I said, let's see where this goes. But we are now in year 4. And it will be next week, October 18th. We are going to be at the A&B Event Center.
And I know you have quite a panel of women that are coming up. I just talked to Coach T. I know that she is going to be on the panel, and she's always inspiring.
Yes. And we also have LaToya White, who does Fredericksburg Fashion Week. Okay. She will be there as well. So it's going to be at 5012 South Point Parkway, which is the A&B Creative Event Center that is also owned by a phenomenal Black woman who supports our community tremendously. Her name is Latasha Brooks. So, yes, we have a great panel, and I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm excited.
Looking forward to it myself.
Yes, it's going to be so nice.
The Unshakable Brunch. Now, you've also written a thought-provoking book, Delay to Decay, The Spiritual Implications of Procrastination, A Pathway to Poverty. Talk to us about your book.
So I decided to write this book. So for so many years, I dealt with procrastination myself. And I'm not going to say I'm fully delivered. I'm close to it, but I'm not fully delivered yet. But procrastination for me, I always thought that it was just, about laziness, right? And part of it is, but a lot of it is also about fear. It's about, for some of us, we look for that validation from other people. And if we feel like we're not going to get that validation, it stops us from doing so many things in our lives. Also, it's about what people have spoken into us. And again, that's about validation, right? And it's fear, and it causes us to not even want to do the thing that God has told us to do. So with Delay to Decay, I decided to write this book because I felt like it was important for my community, especially Christians. Throughout the book, you're going to find scriptures. You're going to find also in the back of the book a little workbook for you to kind of work out some of the things that you may be procrastinating on yourself, right? But again, it is definitely a book that I said, God, what do you want me to write? And I just listened to, you had spoken to another author that you had
Pamela
here.
Nance
Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked her, how does a person get started with writing? Like, what advice?
Yeah, figuring out how to do it sometimes leads to procrastination.
At least, and listen, this book that I wrote, God told me to write 7 years ago.
Wow.
7 years ago. And I was a little rebellious, y'all.
Or like you said, you had the fear of maybe not being successful at it.
Not being successful, people critiquing it. But you know what? I got to a point where I sat down, wrote this book, and I said, I don't care how many people buy it, because God is going to send whoever's supposed to read the book. He will send it, and it's, put it in their ear and they will buy it. I didn't care what the critique was. Now, don't get me wrong. I am very much so a person that is open to feedback. Mm-hmm. But I didn't let that stop me from producing what God asked me to produce. And I think, again, with procrastination, we get in our heads. I'm an overthinker.
We will talk ourselves out of plenty.
I overthink everything. Like, well, what does that mean? Why did they say that? I had to get to a point where my mind closed off from all of that and just focused on what God wanted me to write.
And I think that's the cure, right? Focus and purpose.
Yes.
And you seem to be a woman of both. Now, we're going to talk again about the Unshakable Brunch. We want to remind people before we close out, because you're just a lady of many hats. So tell us again about the Unshakable Brunch and where people can actually meet you in person.
Okay. Well, you can definitely meet me at the Unshakable Saturday Brunch on October 18th. It is from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Again, it's at 5012 South Point Parkway. At the A&B Creative Event Center. You can also, if you want to connect with me, I'm always open to go to coffee, have coffee with people. You can reach me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. On Instagram, Christina Love Hampton. Love is my maiden name, so Christina Love Hampton. And then on Facebook, Christina Hampton.
All right.
I'm on LinkedIn too.
What was that?
I'm on LinkedIn too.
Okay. Christina, thank you so much for sharing your heart, your story, your mission with us today. Your journey reminds us that healing and purpose, it begins from within, and when we align our faith and our action. If there's a call to action that you can give the public, what would it be right now?
With the climate that we're in right now, I would say trust God. Trust God. Go back to what God has put in your heart for you to do. Focus on that. I think we're kind of losing focus on all these other things that's happening out here. But we have to remember that God is in control, and we have to give him that. We have to invite him in and let him control our atmosphere.
Amen to that. To our listeners, remember, you are unshakable when your faith is unmovable. Until next time, stay encouraged and walk boldly in your purpose. Ms. Christina Hampton, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much.